The bizarre Jussie Smollett case takes yet another strange twist. Written by Megan Crepeau, Chicago Tribune, June 22, 2019, at 6:50 p.m. The prosecution of Jussie Smollett, a small-time felony case that has grown only more bizarre seemingly with each passing week, may have taken its strangest twist yet on Friday. In a blistering and somewhat unexpected ruling, a veteran Cook County judge ordered a special prosecutor appointed to reinvestigate the circumstances of the one-time Empire actor's alleged hoax attack on a frigid January night in downtown Chicago. In doing so, Judge Michael Tooman blasted State Attorney Kim Foxx's handling of the prosecution, saying her botched decision to appoint her top deputy to prosecute Smollett after recusing herself invalidated the case from start to finish. The rare move to appoint a special prosecutor marks the first step in what promises to be a full-blown probe of how Foxx's office made the controversial decision to drop the disorderly conduct charges against Smollett just weeks after he was indicted. The investigation will surely keep the Smollett case in the national headlines for months and could cast a cloud over Foxx's bid for re-election next year. It also raised the specter that Smollett could be charged all over again for what Chicago police determined to be a staged attack he orchestrated on himself because of dissatisfaction over his pay on the Fox series Empire. The whole episode has been costly for the actor, who won't return to his role for the final season of Empire. He also faces a lawsuit from the city of Chicago seeking to recoup the cost of police overtime for investigating the incident, and his attorneys have been sued for defamation by two brothers who claim Smollett paid them $3,500 to help him stage the attack. In issuing his 21-page opinion, Tooman couldn't resist a personal dig at Smollett's acting chops, as he made it quite clear he believes the police account of what happened early on the morning of January 29th near the actor's apartment building in the Streeterville neighborhood. In perhaps the most prominent display of his acting potential, Smollett conceived a fantasy that propelled him from the role of a sympathetic victim of a vicious homophobic attack to that of a charlatan who fomented a hoax, the equal of any twisted television intrigue, Tooman wrote. Tooman concluded his ruling by writing that the case's unprecedented irregularities warranted the appointment of a special prosecutor to restore the public's confidence in the integrity of our criminal justice system. Brian Watson, one of Smollett's local attorneys, declined comment Friday on Tooman's ruling, but the actor and his attorneys have steadfastly maintained his innocence and claimed he had been exonerated by the actions of Foxx's office. Special prosecutors have usually been reserved for matters of undeniable weight. The infamous Summerdale police scandal from the early 1960s, the Black Panthers raid that led to the killing of leader Fred Hampton and a second man, the wide-scale torture of black suspects by Chicago Police Commander John Burge in the late 70s and 80s, and the more recent police shooting of 17-year-old Laquan McDonald. Despite the massive publicity it has generated, Smollett's minor felony case may seem small by comparison. This isn't Laquan McDonald. It isn't, veteran attorney Terry Eccles said Friday, but it was the perfect storm. An actor in politics and race and being gay, all those things, and then the political influence on Fox. That's what made this have so many legs. The ruling marked a victory for Sheila O'Brien, a former state appellate judge who sought the special prosecutor in largely a solo effort. she had clashed with Tooman, who made it clear he was the one still on the bench calling the shots. At the last hearing in late May, Tooman cut down O'Brien's attempts to boot Cook County prosecutors off the case, denied her permission to take depositions of Fox and her top deputy, and rejected her multiple motions to transfer the case to another judge. Following Tooman's call on Friday for a special prosecutor, O'Brien said she was thrilled, saying it was a good day for justice. She said her only motive in spearheading the effort was to ensure respect for the law. Somebody had to do this. Who was going to do this? She told a throng of reporters in the lobby of the Layton Criminal Court building. I had time and a typewriter, and here we are. Fox, whose critics have used the furor over Smollett to attack her incompetence for the powerful law enforcement post, issued a brief statement that said she respectfully disagreed with Tooman's decision and said she recused herself on the advice and counsel of her chief ethics officer. The statement did not address if the office will appeal the ruling to a higher court, and a spokeswoman did not respond to requests for clarification. April Perry, who was Fox's chief ethics officer at the time, but has since left the office, broke her silence later Friday after Fox's statement. After questions were raised within the office about the legitimacy of Fox's recusal from the Smollett's case, Perry revealed in her statement Friday she advised Joseph Magatz, Fox's first assistant, who had been named by Fox to head up the Smollett prosecution after her recusal, to seek a special prosecutor. But Magatz told her that Fox had decided a special prosecutor should not be sought, Perry said. It is a chief ethics officer's job to provide the best advice and guidance possible based upon the facts given to her at the time, Perry's email statement said. Sometimes that advice is followed, sometimes it's not. In a further attempt to put the blame on Perry, Fox issued follow-up statements on Saturday that faulted Perry on two major points of criticism leveled by Tooman, saying she not only advised Fox to recuse herself, but also sought Magatz's appointment as special prosecutor. The next step for Tooman will be to decide who should be the special prosecutor. That choice will bring on a team of attorneys to assist in the probe. They will wield extensive power to follow the probe where it leads, including investigating the actions of any person or office involved in all aspects of the case, Tooman's ruling noted. They could also file new charges against Smollett or anyone else they reasonably believe committed a crime. Under Illinois law, Tooman first must contact public agencies such as the Attorney General's office and county prosecutors around the state to learn if any are willing to take on the time-consuming and demanding task. If no one steps forward, Tooman can choose a private attorney. In the Laquan McDonald shooting, for instance, Joseph McMahon, the state's attorney of Kane County, agreed to be the special prosecutor, an assignment that took nearly 2.5 years to fulfill. If a private attorney takes the case, the cost to Cook County taxpayers could be substantial. Attorney Dan Webb, who was appointed special prosecutor by Tooman in 2012 to look into whether clout tainted the investigation of former Mayor Richard Daley's nephew in a confrontation that led to the death of David Koshman, billed the county nearly $1 million for his investigation. Special prosecutors who have been involved for many years in the Burge scandal have cost the county millions of dollars. Fox's office had opposed the appointment of a special prosecutor, arguing in part that it would duplicate the efforts of the county's Inspector General's office, which has been investigating the controversy since April. But Fox requested the IG's probe, raising questions about its independence in some eyes, and that office cannot bring criminal charges. The special prosecutor's investigation could answer many of the lingering questions that followed the abrupt dismissal of Smollett's charges by Fox's office at an unannounced court hearing. Prosecutors at first maintained the evidence against the actor was solid, but days later Fox suggested the case was shaky all along. Fox said she recused herself from the prosecution in its early stages. At first, she cited the fact that she had contact with a relative of Smollett when the actor was still considered a victim. High-profile attorney Tina Chen, a former chief of staff to former First Lady Michelle Obama, connected Smollett with that relative, sparking conspiracy theories that the Obamas directed Fox to go easy on the actor. But just last month, internal communications from Fox's office, released to the Chicago Tribune and other news organizations as part of public records request, showed Fox claimed she recused herself because of false rumors that she was related to Smollett. To further muddy the issue, Fox's office first said she had recused herself from Smollett's prosecution. Later, though, her office claimed Fox had not recused herself in the legal sense. In his ruling, Tooman called that an exercise in creative lawyering. Under that rubric, Fox could carry on as a public prosecutor, unhampered by her contradictory statements, wrote Tooman, age 81, who has been on the bench for nearly 40 years. However, discerning members of the public have come to realize that the recusal that really wasn't was purely an exercise in sophistry. Tooman absolutely nailed the complex legal issues, Eccles said after reviewing the judge's written order. Rank and file prosecutors' powers derive entirely from Fox's authority, Eccles said, and when she withdrew from the Smollett case, she was legally obligated to recuse the entire office. When the state's attorney feels that he or she has a reason to recuse themselves, they absolutely have a right to do that, Eccles said. But the statute does not give the state's attorney the ability to handpick who replaces him or her.